So today we are going to do something a little different. We are going to start a new series that I feel like needs to be done, where we are going to every day we will be going over a chapter of the Bible starting from the beginning. We will have little discussion as I go, and you'll have to pardon me because my I am a redneck, so English is not my best language. So some things I will not pronounce right, but you'll get the idea. So we'll start with Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So for me, right there, it explains everything to God created heaven and earth. You want to know where everything started? This is where it started from. So now, if evolution fits in at some point, maybe that was part of God's plan. But us coming from monkeys and fish, that's those who believe that's your choice. But me, this is what I'm going by. It doesn't make sense for me to come from something that still is existing out there. What makes the monkey or the fish decide, the ones running around now didn't want to become humans? That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So let's move on to verse 2. It says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." So, looking at this, it tells me, from what I'm interpreting, now all this is what I'm interpreting. Everybody can read the same verse and have 6 different versions, but this is what I'm interpreting. It says, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." So, the only thing that God talks about in this verse is his face moved upon the face of the waters. The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So it tells me that the earth there was no light. It was all dark. Uh, it was all the oceans were created first. There was no land mass. It was all just water. Uh, which, if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because it makes more sense for the earth to be for the water to be there first, because think about the wells that people, like well water that I have, that's all springs and water under the ground. So it makes sense that the water is the base of it all, and the land come upon it. So what we need to take from that is, basically, you had the earth and it was just covered in oceans. So we go to verse 3. "And God said, Let there be light, and there was light." Verse 4. "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." So God's timing and our timing may not be the same, because he created the earth, and we do not know it started with darkness. Why did it start with darkness? Was it something that was it he being so specific in describing the events and how they were made that the darkness was there maybe seconds, but he wanted to include everything to the dot? Maybe that's why the darkness was listed as being there first, just chronologically, so everything would be line up right. Or maybe the darkness was there for 1,000 years, our time, and it was, you know, minutes in God's time. So we don't we at least at this point where we are, we don't know what God's measurements of time are right now. But for whatever reason, he created light. So some reason he felt like the darkness needed a counter to it. It doesn't explain why at this moment. It doesn't say why the darkness come first and then he decided he needed light. Something in there, I feel like something dictated that there needed to be light somewhere. That something that the darkness needed a counter for some reason, and I don't know why yet. But that's what I'm reading from it. Is he tried the darkness first, and maybe it was simply something he didn't try first. Maybe he's just documenting it for chronological order, that the the darkness was there when he created everything and then he got the light next. Or it could be something where the darkness was tried first and he needed light to counter whatever he seen wasn't working right with the darkness. But either way, it's interesting here, and it kind of backs up what I'm saying with it says, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So somewhere, you don't see it in here anywhere where he says the darkness was good. But he makes it a point to have a verse that says the light was good. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but this is the words that's written in the verse, and I'm going to take it at the way it's wrote. And it looks like something in the darkness just was it fitting right with him, that the light was what he needed. The light become the good, become what he was seeking. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. So I may be wrong. These may have been things that were like dominoes, where you had darkness, and then in a matter of minutes, light followed behind it. But it's just strange that it started with darkness, because God being all powerful, why couldn't he start with light if he knew he was going to get there anyway? So darkness was chosen first for a reason, and then light was brought in, and it was even commented that it was good. But the darkness, you never get that with the darkness. Obviously, the darkness serves a purpose, or he would have eliminated it completely. So he found a purpose for the night. For the dark, he called it night, and he found a purpose for the day. He called it, for the light, he called it the day. So that's where we get our day and night from. So now we move to to verse 6. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So, well, let's go on to the next one. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So it's interesting here because a lot of people would believe that the firmament is where we get our continents and stuff from, and that's not what this is saying. This is saying that basically the void, from what I'm understanding, the void was filled with water for Earth, and it says that God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. Which, it sounds like he created the atmosphere, but there's nothing in the atmosphere that I would consider firmament, unless maybe the atmosphere itself is just some kind of firmament. Maybe I don't understand the definition of firmament. I think of it more of a physical sense, but it sounds like that's what this is, as this is where God created the atmosphere, and it was called heaven. Maybe this was outer space created. I mean, it's hard telling, but and you can always leave comments on how you view things. Maybe you see things a little different. Leave me a comment. I'm open. Maybe we can figure this out. So, but it's interesting here that it says the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. So that tells you there was waters above this firmament and there was waters below. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters. So it sounds like he had some firmament put between the waters, because it says they were divided under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. So that means there would be firmament in the middle. So I'm not sure where that places it. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. So that was the second day. So we go to verse 9. Verse 9. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So, what I interpret from here is, you notice God goes back and says, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. This is a different firmament. This isn't the same one that he did before. So, or let's see, did I read the wrong thing? Yeah, here we go. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place. So it does sound like the firmament that he brought up, dry land appeared out of it, but it doesn't explain what the firmament above it become yet. Because remember, it says there were waters which were under the firmament, and there was waters which were above the firmament. So maybe the waters above the firmament, and maybe it was an atmosphere. Maybe that's where the lakes and all that come from. But it's hard to have lakes and stuff with no dry land. The dry land didn't come until now. God turned the firmament into dry land, some of it. And he called the waters the seas, and it was good. So he was happy with it. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, herbs, yielding seed, and the fruit tree. So this is where we get the plants that would sustain life on earth. And it all happened on the third day. It says he spoke it to happen. When it says God said, he that's the power God has. He verbally speaks and it happens. So we have all this going on. God saw this and said it was good. So that was the third day. So here we are, we're starting the fourth day. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven. So right here, I think I was on to something when I said some of it may have become outer space in the atmosphere, because the firmament above the waters looks like it did become the ones that he referred to as they would be called heavens. Looks like it was the outer space, because it said, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So this is telling you where heaven and all this come from. So, or outer space, stars, all the planets, all this stuff. So I'm assuming when it talks about being lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from night and let them be for signs, the next verses are where they break down what these lights are. So that's where he talks about creating the sun, which is the light to rule the day. He makes the moon to rule the night. That's the two great lights. And when he says, let's see, he talks about these other lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. I'm assuming it's the stars and the planets. And of course, you divide the light from the darkness with the sun and the moon. And God saw that it was good. So this tells me the first 2 or 3 days we had light, but we didn't have any stars. We didn't have no moon, no sun. So this had to be, I don't know what kind of light this would be. since the sun generates our light theoretically. And well, not even theoretically, because it tells you right here that the sun provides the light. So I don't know where the light come from. It was just it was just there. God just put it there. So let's move on. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. So this is a quick sum up of this. Basically, God created all the animal life on the fourth day or the fifth day. It was the fifth day. And he saw it was good. And the animals were created before we were. So we move on. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, the beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So I'm a little bit corrected on what I was saying earlier. The fifth day, God just created ocean life and birds, if I'm looking at it right. Yeah, birds and ocean life. And it was on the sixth day that God created everything that walketh on the earth. So, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created them. And God blessed them and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So, on the sixth day, that is where man come in. And I'm assuming, yeah, the cattle come in on the sixth day. So, God brought the earth roaming creatures on the sixth day. And he decided to make man and female on the sixth day, which it doesn't go into big detail on how much time, like I said, how much time is between all this, because we have